Thank you, Larry. It's with great pleasure that I'm going to introduce Dr. Stephen Hotze, who's been a real crusader and leader for freedom in medicine for over 10 years. In fact, it was at a meeting just like this in San Antonio, Texas, over 10 years ago when we first met Dr. Hotze, and I was giving my talk that afternoon, and I said there's this new law, HIPAA, that's going to sweep everybody into the federal system, and people are going to have to comply with the privacy rule and all these regulations, but you can be non-covered under federal HIPAA if you don't file any electronic claims with insurance companies. The problem, as I said in my talk, is that in Texas, they have their own HIPAA rule here in Texas, and becoming non-covered under the federal rule did not get you out of the regulation in Texas, because in Texas there was a law that even if you're non-covered under the federal law, you're still covered under Texas law, and you still have to comply with all these regulations. Dr. Hotze came up to me after my talk and said, why don't we just repeal that law here in Texas? I was like, well, that would be miraculous, but how are we going to do that? Dr. Hotze said, I'll get on it. I'll get that thing repealed. And he did. He got it repealed in Texas. And ever since, we have all learned a great deal from Dr. Hotze. He's a bulldog in dealing with every interference with the private practice of medicine. He's been the leader in getting the Texas Medical Board reformed the last couple of years, and he'll talk to you about that. He's been a leader in fighting the pharmaceutical companies. He's been a leader in establishing a cash practice outside of insurance companies. And he's been a leader in politics, too. In fact, the election here in Houston about a month ago, Dr. Hotze was out there on the front lines trying to avert a disaster at the council level and the mayoral level, and he was able to avert a partial disaster, at least, and the Houston Chronicle took him to task for that as it ran cartoons and repeated articles against Dr. Hotze, but it doesn't faze Dr. Hotze. Dr. Hotze is a truly inspirational figure in my life and in the lives of many people here at APS, and I ask you to give him a warm welcome. Dr. Hotze.